Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening. It's Monday, November 9th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. President-elect Joe Biden isn't wasting any time focusing on the coronavirus pandemic, even as President Donald Trump refuses to concede. Biden is the projected winner of more than 270 electoral college votes. As Camila Bernal explains, the president-elect laid out his plans for tackling COVID-19 on the same day as an announcement about a new vaccine that has many encouraged.
COVID-19 rages at a pace the United States has never seen. There have been more than 10 million cases of coronavirus in the country.
These are very big numbers nationally, and it's accelerating very quickly.
But there may be a breakthrough. Pfizer says early results show its vaccine is more than 90% effective.
It's a very important day for humanity.
The vaccine requires 2 doses, and more study is needed to determine how long immunity to the virus lasts. It's also not clear when the vaccine may be available to most Americans. But when it is, Pfizer CEO says it will be free.
It's coming at a time that the world needs it the most.
President Trump tweeted his excitement, saying such great news. And President-elect Joe Biden also pleased but cautious.
This vaccine, even if approved, will not be widely available for many months yet to come. The challenge before us right now is still immense and growing.
After attending a briefing with his new COVID task force, the president-elect has one message: to take the politics out of the pandemic.
We can save tens of thousands of lives if everyone would just wear a mask for the next few months. Not Democrat or Republican lives, American lives.
Camila Bernal, KPBS News.
Pfizer's vaccine isn't approved yet by the FDA. The drug maker plans to seek emergency use authorization, but it must wait until participants are studied for at least 2 months after receiving their second dose of the vaccine. The company says that milestone should be reached later this month. Supporters of President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris flooded the streets across San Diego over the weekend. And as KPBS reporter Max Rivlin-Nadler shows us, others came out for President Donald Trump as he contests the election results.
Shortly after the Associated Press called the race in favor of Biden-Harris on Saturday morning, the honking and celebrating began in neighborhoods across San Diego. Natalie Garces and her friend Jillian Grennan were woken up by the sounds of car horns in Hillcrest.
And then people just started honking, and that's when we knew.
They then went and bought rainbow-colored pride flags from a nearby store and handed them out to those passing by in the neighborhood.
We just bought them.
Oh, you just bought them?
Yeah, I like a pat.
Intermittent rain showers didn't dampen their festivities. Grennan says she feels relief.
We all know that there's so much more work to do, and Biden was none of our first choices, but yeah, thank God. It's all going to be so much easier.
In Normal Heights, Barrett Paul told KPBS he was taking to the street to support his community.
It was a rough 4 years for a lot of people. If you are any kind of marginalized community, if you're a woman, this just wasn't good for so many people. And so we are just taking it to the streets to celebrate. We live on a main street. Everyone's just been honking and being super excited.
Out front of the county administration building, dozens of Trump supporters gathered to wave at drivers, holding high their Trump 2020 flags. The group included Joshua Cantor from El Cajon.
I'm here today to stand for an election of integrity where everybody's vote is counted. I think there are some very big and valid concerns that need to be addressed.
Cantor says the shift of mail-in votes in Biden's favor, as opposed to Election Day votes, which tended to favor the president, made him concerned the vote was somehow fraudulent. But despite the president's claims and those of some of his supporters, there's been no evidence of voter fraud in an attempt to change the outcome of the presidential election. In his victory speech Saturday night, Biden touted the fact that he's won more votes than any presidential ticket in history, calling his win a victory for the people. Max Rivlin-Nadler, KPBS News.
Though it's been clear for days that Assemblymember Todd Gloria will be San Diego's next mayor, his ascension to the office took another step toward being official today. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says his opponent, City Council member Barbara Bry, has conceded.
Gloria's double-digit lead on election night was big, almost insurmountable, but Bry held out hope that she might still narrow the gap as more votes were counted. Instead, Gloria's lead has been growing over the past few days. In a Monday morning press conference, Bry said she had called Gloria on Sunday to congratulate him on his win.
As I reflect on the campaign, I wish every San Diegan could have shared the experiences I've had over the past year and more, talking to thousands of San Diegans about their aspirations and their concerns.
Gloria comes into office facing big problems, chief among them the devastation COVID-19 has inflicted on the local economy. He put out a statement Monday thanking Bry for her service to the city and saying, quote, "It is time to put the campaign behind us and come together as San Diegans to resolve the many challenges we face. Voters have embraced my vision of creating a city that works for all of us. It's now time to turn that vision into reality." Gloria will be San Diego's first openly gay elected mayor, the first of Filipino or Native American descent, and the first Latino since California became a state. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
With ballots still left to be counted, the race for the District 2 seat on the County Board of Supervisors is tightening. Poway Mayor Steve Voss holds the lead with only 203 votes ahead of fellow Republican former State Senator Joel Anderson. In a statement to KPBS, Anderson wrote, quote, "We are cautiously optimistic and are eager for the Registrar of Voters to finish counting. Mail-in ballots will continue to be accepted until November 20th, and we are waiting for the latest numbers from the County Registrar of Voters, who, as of this morning, had 64,000 ballots left to be counted." For more election results, visit our website, kpbs.org. You can find the latest updates on local, state, and national races as soon as they come in. Tomorrow, we'll find out if San Diego County is moving to the state's most restrictive tier. Today, 401 new COVID-19 cases and no additional deaths were reported in our region. For now, we are in the red tier, but we could be downgraded to the purple tier if our case rate is still above 7 per 100,000. Cases have also been increasing in many other counties across California. State Health Secretary Dr. Mark Galley says one of the major sources of spread across California is private household gatherings.
Our guard may have come down, but we have to put it right back up, that these masks, even with loved ones that we haven't seen in a while, are really important. And that sense that we're safe because we know someone, it's not the case with COVID. It really matters who's been in your stable sort of cohort, who you live with in that household that matters.
Dr. Galley says it looks like no counties will move forward into less restrictive tiers, but some may be moving backward. If San Diego County falls back, restaurants and many other businesses will have to close or move entirely outdoors. UC San Diego students, staff, and faculty can use a COVID tracking program on their phones to tell them if they've been exposed to the virus. As KPBS reporter Claire Tregesser tells us, the plan is to make this tool available statewide.
The alert came through a few days after BC, a student at UCSD, arrived on campus. A person you were recently near has reported they tested positive for COVID-19, it said. The message came from a program UC San Diego students, faculty, and staff can install on their phones to let them know if they've been near someone who tested positive for COVID-19. BC, who asked to be identified by her initials to protect her privacy, says she wasn't surprised by the news.
My roommate told me that one of them one of the people we were with had tested positive. But so yeah, I was expecting it, but for someone who wasn't expecting it, that would probably be really scary.
Still, she appreciated the clear instructions from the alert.
It's telling you next steps now. It's not just up to me. I was officially notified,
It's being piloted at UC San Diego and UC San Francisco, with the eventual goal to expand to other UC campuses and eventually the entire state, says Dr. Christopher Longhurst, the Chief Information Officer at UC San Diego.
It is an augmentation to manual contact tracing, which works great for household contacts and, people you live with and people that you might eat lunch with because they're your best friends. Where contact tracing falls apart is people you don't know, right? It's the stranger at the grocery store or the bar or the restaurant or the college party.
The university is going to great lengths to protect users' privacy, to the point where it's hard for the school to know whether the program is having much impact.
We don't actually know who's turned the app on, right? What we know is who clicked on the website to download the profile or the app. We're fairly confident that we have north of 14,000 users at this point.
The only thing UC San Diego does know is that so far, about 12 people have reported a positive case through the program. Claire Tregesser, KPBS News.
It's a snow day in the mountains. A cold and wet winter storm has blanketed parts of the mountains. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman went to Mount Laguna today to see the first snowfall of the season.
It's the first snowfall at all. It started Friday night, and we got about, 3-4 inches.
The owner of the Laguna Mountain Lodge says it was so cold this morning his car door was frozen shut.
It just means a lot of work, a lot of people, a lot of visitors, a lot of getting up in the morning and moving snow.
The snow is a boost for businesses out here.
3 hot chocolates and 1 sled. Oh, it's always a lot busier when it snows, unless it's an extreme amount where they can't get here. Okay. But this was a perfect storm. It was on a weekend, and they were able to keep the road. The county did a great job keeping the roads open.
Today we saw lots of people out enjoying the white stuff.
My mom and my little brother and I, we just came out here to see if there was a lot of snow and just to hang out and throw snowballs.
Here near the Mount Laguna Visitor Center, lots of freshly fallen snow. I want to show you. Come take a walk with me. The Visitor Center hours are changed, so if you're coming to this area, make sure you take a look to see if that Visitor Center is going to be open. But as you can see, snow everywhere in this area. Take a look at this table. Freshly fallen snow, perfect for making snowballs. Something to keep in mind, though, if you are coming up here, not a lot of trash cans, not a lot of bathrooms, so make sure whenever you bring in, you're packing out.
If you come up here, make sure you bring chains, bring a shovel, bring a trash bag, take your trash home.
Meteorologists say this is the first big snowfall of the season in San Diego County.
Pretty remarkable that we're talking about several inches of snow up at 6,000 feet over Palomar, over Mount Laguna in early November, especially considering this is our first real storm of the year and we had a really hot summer.
It was a snow day for some schools, including the Julian Union High School District. For fire crews, a few inches of snow is a welcome sign.
So when you melt all that snow and when you put it in a measuring cup and measure it, it was 3 to 4 inches of rain. Even in Julian, Palomar Mountain had 2.5. That's a lot of water. So what's that mean for our fire weather conditions? Well, it means, we have bought a lot of time for November. So the rest of this month, we shouldn't have to worry about fire weather.
No new snow is expected to fall out here in the immediate future. Just make sure if you're heading up here, prepare for some tough road conditions. Today, we saw locals pulling vehicles off of the icy roads. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
As often happens when we do get rain, warnings have been posted to stay out of the ocean in the South Bay because of border sewage flows. The county issued a water contact closure notice for all beaches from the border to the south end of Seacoast Drive. As for what we can expect from the weather this week, here's Mark Mancuso.
A cool week is ahead of us, but we'll see dry conditions, and there should be plenty of sunshine, too. The end of the week, though, we see another system, but the main impacts will be farther north, but that could bring us a few more showers on Friday. As we take a look at conditions tonight, boy, it's chilly. Temperatures down to freezing in Ramona. Oceanside's 36, Escondido's at 38. San Diego's around 49. Mount Laguna's down to 25 and Campo's at 27. So time to find a nice warm jacket. And it looks like the cool air stays with us on Tuesday. Dry conditions are expected with this trough in place. We'll enjoy sunshine, that's for sure. Oceanside, 67, San Diego, 68. That's a little below average. Ramona's in the mid-60s, and El Cajon around 70. Borrego Springs, 68, but only in the 40s in Mount Laguna. And Campo around 59. Looking at conditions on Wednesday, well, still cool, and it could be jacket-worthy. The real cold air sitting up over the Great Basin, but we're looking at below average temperatures. Forecast highs the next couple of days will stay below average in the 60s with the sunshine. Friday, here come the showers. As we head our way to the interior sections, inland we go. And the temperatures here too, a little below average, upper 60s to near 70. Pretty chilly at night. And there you can see some showers in the offing for Friday. And as we head our way to the mountains, we're pretty cool here too. Temperatures will be hovering in the 40s for the most part. And we'll see some clouds around on Friday. And then as we take into the desert areas, temperatures here below average. Look at that, upper 60s, lower 70s. And we'll see some clouds rolling in by the end of the week. And for KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Mark Mancuso.
The race for the 50th congressional district seat is over. Republican Darrell Issa beat Democrat Amar Campa-Najjar by more than 25,000 votes. In a concession statement released Saturday, Campa-Najjar thanked his supporters and said, quote, "To those Trump voters who gave me a chance, I ask you to give Biden the same chance to be America's president. And to Darrell Issa, I congratulate him on a hard-fought campaign and look forward to working with him in service of the district I love." The 50th district covers East and North San Diego County along the portions of Riverside County. Now, despite making historic gains in the House during the 2018 midterms, Democrats weren't able to expand their majority in 2020. John Lawrence explains.
President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris getting ready to lead the country.
I congratulate him, but I'm not going to put aside conservative principles. We're going to fight for the things that we believe in.
Now, although President Trump was denied a second term, Republicans didn't go away empty-handed on Election Day. At least 7 Democrats lost House seats while voters helped the GOP hold firm in many suburban areas that Democrats were hoping to win.
We're going to have to bring all parts. Our Democratic Party is not as united as I wish it could be some days, and it's going to force us to listen to each other and try to find ways to get some really important things for the American people done.
As for control of the Senate, all eyes are on Georgia. Incumbent Republican Senators Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue are in tight runoff races against Democrats Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff, respectively.
If these Senate races go to the Dems, Kamala becomes the tie-breaking vote, and it becomes much, much more likely that Joe can push forward the kind of robust agenda our country needs to rebuild right now.
But if Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell keeps his position, President-elect Biden will likely have to adjust his goals over the next 4 years. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
As Vice President-elect Kamala Harris prepares for office in the White House, the decision of who will replace her as state senator belongs to Governor Gavin Newsom. In a press conference today, Governor Newsom said the process is just beginning to unfold.
And we'll work through that as we are working through the cattle call of considerations related to what's the profile, right choice to replace Senator Harris, and when is one part of that decision-making process, who is perhaps the more challenging part of that decision-making process. I want to make sure it's inclusive. I want to make sure that we are considerate of people's points of view, and we are in the middle of that as we speak.
Harris was elected to her first Senate term in 2016 and would have been up for re-election in 2022. Her replacement will get 2 years in the Senate before running. Newsom has said diversity will be a consideration for her replacement. And among the numerous candidates being speculated is California Senate President Pro Tem Tony Atkins, a San Diego Democrat who was Speaker of the State Assembly, a lesbian, and ally of Governor Newsom. California's election system this year, in which every registered voter gets a mail-in ballot, may become permanent. It was enacted by Governor Gavin Newsom to reduce the risk during the pandemic. State Senate President Pro Tem Tony Atkins says Democrats in the Senate and the Assembly are likely to take up the issue in the new year.
I think it's early yet, but I think we'll see in the coming days the intention of legislators and what we think moving forward and making it permanent.
The ballots could be mailed, put in drop boxes, or turned in at vote centers. Voters could also cast a ballot in person on Election Day. Atkins says the system worked smoothly during this week's general election, prompting the discussion about making it the standard even when the pandemic is over.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris begin their transition to the White House as the Trump administration refuses to concede defeat. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
If you're thinking about changing your health care plan, you should know that open enrollment for Covered California is now available. 1.5 million Californians have already enrolled through the state's market for the Affordable Care Act. State officials kicked off their push today, encouraging people to find out if they qualify to have the government help pay for their health insurance. They say the pandemic has shed light on how expensive it can be.
Those who are hospitalized because of COVID and do not have health insurance or the special cost-sharing protections that have been put in place for COVID could walk out with very large bills. This fact puts a spotlight on the high cost of health care, which is why everyone should have health insurance.
And you can see the available plans by logging onto coveredca.com. Health officials are urging people to sign up by December 15th to start coverage on January 1st. Lettuce is, once again, being recalled for possible E. coli contamination. Tanamura and Antle is working with the FDA and is voluntarily recalling nearly 3,400 cartons of romaine lettuce distributed to 19 states and Puerto Rico. No reports of illness have been reported. The recall is based on a random test. Each case contains between 12 and 24 heads of lettuce that are individually wrapped. The recalled lettuce was packed on either October 15th or 16th. Alex Trebek, the legendary host of Jeopardy, has died after battling stage 4 pancreatic cancer.
Here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek and family.
Trebek's career in the game show business lasted 5 decades, including more than 30 years hosting Jeopardy! He earned 5 Daytime Emmy Awards and a Lifetime Achievement Award for Outstanding Game Show Host from the Television Academy. Alex Trebek was 80 years old. Scripps Research Institute scientists say smartwatches could predict the early signs of a person coming down with an infectious disease like coronavirus. KPBS science and technology reporter Shalina Chatlani has the story.
The so-called DETECT study launched in late March and has looked at smartwatch or fitness device data on about 36,000 people. Scientists asked participants to track their health and symptoms through a mobile application and use that to monitor changes in heart rate, sleep, activity levels, and other vital signs.
When someone goes to, say, their healthcare provider to get their vitals taken, it's kind of this artificial setting and a one-time measurement, but really from these devices, we have the ability to kind of better characterize what each person's individual typical values are, and by tracking them continuously over time.
Jennifer Radin, an epidemiologist with Scripps Research, says the study found the technology was fairly effective in showing whether a patient was becoming ill. But of course, more analysis is necessary.
So right now we're heading into the start of flu season. And so many of the non-COVID cases in our data set are likely not flu cases. And once that starts circulating in the population, we'll have to better understand kind of how wearable changes with COVID compared to those with other viruses such as flu.
Radin says wearable devices aren't always that accurate, but she says that's not a problem because the user is contributing so much data. Scientists say they'd like more people to participate to verify this limited study. Shalina Chatlani, KPBS News.
And here's a look at our top stories. We just got updated results from the San Diego County Registrar of Voters. Poway Mayor Steve Voss is still ahead of fellow Republican former state Senator Joel Anderson in the District 2 Board of Supervisors race. But now it's even closer. Only 111 votes separate the two. And Assembly member Todd Gloria will be San Diego's next mayor. His opponent, City Council member Barbara Bry, conceded today. She said she called Gloria yesterday to congratulate him on his win. Gloria will be San Diego's first openly gay elected mayor, the first of Filipino or Native American descent, and the first Latino since California became a state. Tomorrow we'll find out if San Diego County is moving to the state's most restrictive tier. Today, 401 new COVID-19 cases and no additional deaths were reported in our region. For now, we are in the red tier, but we could be downgraded to the purple tier if our case rate is still above 7 per 100,000. Restaurants and many other businesses would have to close or move entirely outdoors. And here's a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. On Morning Edition, a newly elected Temecula City Councilwoman sponsored a rally challenging California's COVID-19 protections. And on Midday Edition, we'll hear from one of the local doctors who's on the state's coronavirus vaccine safety panel about the latest developments with the Pfizer vaccine. And as always, you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.